G'day, I'm Grown Omega, and welcome back to Factorio MaraRail. Last episode... What did we do last episode? I've already forgotten. That's right, we made sure that we actually had some green science going. A little confused because this is the second attempt at recording this. Well, the video was the second attempt, first attempt with voice. But I didn't realise that my recording software was going to the wrong hard drive. So it was a good thing I didn't save over because the drive it was saving to ran out of space, and so I lost some of the video. But back for trying this again, and at least now I know what I need to do. So it sort of helps out. So right off the bat, we're doubling the copper smelting straight away, and then we will increase the copper mining as well in a moment. I know after this I will fix up the ratio of copper cables into the circuits for the inserters, just to get that functioning quicker, because it's 10 copper cables per circuit, so you need five assemblers cutting cables to even that all out. And the positioning, of course, gets a little bit weird, but you'll see what I mean in a minute. So we need belts coming around the outside full of copper plates so that they can be then cut up and sent to the circuit maker. More fast inserters. So the actual circuit assembler is basically surrounded by inserters with to put the copper cabling in. So it takes 3 of the fast inserters to fill up. I think it was fast inserters, not normal inserters, but it takes 3 of them to fill up a side of a standard belt, or a level 1 transport belt, let's just call it that. So now they're all in, set them all to cables, throw in the copper plates, and away it all goes, and you can see that is just churning along. And you'll also see that power's gone, and research all at the same time. So get smelters done first, just simply to get steel and iron and everything just smelting or getting made a lot quicker. Sure, all of this is sufficient, but now that we're about ready to go making, or well on the way to making rails and all that sort of thing, we will need a lot more. So the reason I didn't put that other one right next to the copper belt is because I'm going to double again the copper smelting array. Mr. Lamp there, put that in, and now we'll put in the steam engines and boilers and a inserter. Goodness. Where are we up to? Throw some more copper into there. At least all of that's going faster. We're not quite getting enough copper in as it is. It's just making it to the end, but obviously it's better to have a surplus than not enough. So throw in a couple more. The edging of this deposit is a little weird. Unfortunately, the cable doesn't reach right up to the end, so I need to use an extra pylon. Not like that's an issue, because we need to power the next lot of miners anyway. So now, trying to put in a balancer, but of course I didn't make any splitters beforehand, and there's not much point in having 2 miners feeding the smelting array, so swap that back around. Now that that's done, throw it in and set everything to surge through it. Throw in a balancer as well. Oh, obviously not right now. As you can see, all of that is just wearing away. Throw in some more iron into that, get some more new stock of plates, sorry, pardon me. Here we go. I don't need the extra splitter, but there we go. Now we got a balancer, so everything is being fed evenly left and right. There is all manner of other balancers as well, and I'll probably use a couple of different ones later on, but for now, just that single balancer is perfectly fine. So what I'm doing here is just counting up the number of slots needed for this other chest to make up for the 750 green science that's needed for these furnaces. So of course, once again, inserters and belts. A whole lot more plates. Fill everything up so that nothing runs out on us. And then, here we go, duplicate the copper smelting array. Mirroring it over, don't know why, it's not like it really matters. because all it is that very bottom piece where it stores all the copper. And I was confused as to why I was one furnace short, and I reckon that was because I made a boiler which needs a stone furnace. So at least we'll get that sorted. Throw in some more copper, yet again. Splitter, underground belt, eventually. Because we're lacking copper when we're fixing copper. Add that up and connect that up to coal. And then of course we'll need to fix coal, because as is Factorio, you try to fix one system and it throws another out of whack. That's part of the fun of it. It keeps you going. So there you go. You can see that the coal on the top line heading up to the boilers is starting to run low, which of course is the same problem I had before, which is why I was aware of it. At least picked it up early rather than when I first recorded this, because what happened? That's right, I noticed that coal was barely getting to the smelters, and it was very little coal that was actually getting to the boilers when I suddenly realised. And then of course, panic mode, oh crap, what do I do? Picture the guy in the Simpsons episode just running around in circles when the evacuation alarm's gone off in the power plant. Alright, so with all those furnaces going, we'll put in the chest and continue on to sort out the next problem. Which actually we don't go sort out coal, we'll put in some more copper miners. As you can see, the belts that we need are already filled up. And I think the inserters aren't too far behind. I should probably write down times before doing this. I've now started writing myself up a checklist of stuff to get done during an episode, but I haven't done that for the commentary. Oh well. Getting better with things, refining the systems, all that sort of crap. So now finally over to the coal, and we will put probably another, what was it, 5 I think I put here, or 4 at least. Now right here I'm just trying to work out how to set up the conveyor belt, or set up the belts so that they're not completely filling up one side of the line, but it's more trouble than it's worth. Put all the lights in down here and then realise put them on the wrong side of the belt compared to the rest. Oh well, put some more in on the deposit as well. Another miner there. I don't know why I didn't put the other couple of miners on the coal supply, because those are desperately needed. Sort out power so that we're not, or so that everything is actually working. Filled up on copper. Oh, and that's run out. So at least 2 of them will keep most of it going for as long as we need. There we go, there's the 3rd one. So now you can see the copper plates are completely reaching the end. We put some iron straight into the electronic circuit assembler as well, and everything starts running full ball. So I'm going to squeeze that one on the end. So it's a weird balancing act right now, because really what we need is stack inserters, but we don't have stack inserters yet, and we can't afford to get stack inserters until we've got a lot more green science. But we need green science before we can set up a massive or a sizable array to get the green science. Checking power, and thankfully everything is doing okay with the 6 furnaces, but for some reason, as you can see, the iron plate supply going to steel has slowed right down. So I'm not sure what on earth went wrong there, but you can see coal's building back up, thankfully. And back to copper, there is just enough, well, a bit more than just enough, that's going through the system to reach the last few smelters, but it doesn't, you can see big holes through it. There's not enough to completely sort everything. I think I'm saying that right. Words again. Oh well. So right here we're just throwing in a balancer there. We'll swap this, well, putting in a second one there. So it's a 2 and 2 balancer, really. Just 2 one-lane balancers right next to each other. And then all of those sort everything between them. And so hopefully that means a little bit more is getting to everything. At the very least, that will sort the copper out when we put in more miners on the deposit. So here you go. You can see that chewing through the iron plates that will put straight into the circuit assembler. So all of that was now running full ball. Still going along, but like you can, as I said before, the supply getting through to steel has slowed right down. I don't know why on earth that's playing up now, but something we need to sort out. So both of those chests are sorted, so that's the extra 750 inserters and belts that we need. So we'll just shrink down the belt chest to what we need. And there we go, that's now 750, and we just need to wait for everything else to finish and make ourselves another chest to store the inserters. Everything's still wearing away. Steel is now, or iron is now built up going to the steel smelters, and that chest is almost full, so that will sort itself out completely anyway. More copper in there, we've got more miners onto the deposit. Just separate them for the sake of sticking power poles in between. And lights, no, not that time. So there you go, copper had filled up quite nicely. 700 and now 750. Now where do we go? Throw another one on the end of that line of miners just to finish off the deposit, clean it up. There you go, once again there's not enough iron in the system, or not being transferred fast enough, so it's all slowed down again. And we're still just back and forth, but hopefully between this episode and next, that will be all, because we'll have all of what we need for the green science, and now that we can build, or by the end of this episode, we'll be able to build steel furnaces, so we can start laying out tracks and an array, or at least the smelting array. And then tracks will come probably next episode, random door getting blown shut. But yeah, while we research the rest of the trains, we'll be able to sort out, or start sorting out, outposts, because I've decided, even though I haven't had any other input, which is kind of disappointing, but oh well. Yeah, YouTube's always a fickle thing, you never know whether something's going to work or not. So, oh well, I'll probably have to change my tactics. But either way, I've decided I'll go with the Factorio Towns route, just simply because I really want to experiment with big multi-lane railways. So picture 3 or 4 lanes of rails in each direction. So you've either got big 6-lane or 8-lane sets of tracks running around the place. And then of course them splitting off into little branch lines to go to separate areas. So mainly that would be deposits. If this was a standard railworld, we'd have single lane branch lines reaching off and then having overtaking sidings. Couldn't think of the word there. But either way, with coal being used up quite heavily, and we're on the verge of really getting into a massive smelter, or needing to make the massive smelters and everything else, arrays, words, I've come off to the left here to try and find the coal deposit that I first saw on the map in episode 1. Random group of dead trees there, which is confusing. But yeah, went back and checked, and there it is. So at least, whoops, got a tag before I could put down a turret. And then just creep them up. So at least with this coal, it means that we'll have somewhere to gain a whole lot of coal. Once again, the satisfying pop after the deafening rattle. But yeah, an interesting graphical bug, I think. Some of the debris on the ground was overhanging the water. So there's a decent chunk of coal there, so at least once we do get trains and everything else going, now trying to weave through the trees, we will be able to fuel everything. Trees. I should probably get that add-on that Bentham said about squeak through or whatever. Makes getting through some things like trees a hell of a lot easier. But oh well. Back at base, we'll need to top up supplies. The inserters have almost finished. So once that fills up, we will have all the inserters that we'll need to get trains and signals and everything else. Once again, put iron straight into the circuit assembler and gears straight into the inserter production, and all of that's now running full ball. I don't know why I keep building extra labs, but going through there, you'll probably have to pause them. There's all the names. One of them being called In Disguise. So, Lab in Disguise. It's good that some people have a sense of humour. Back over to the stone, because as you can see up the top corner there, on the top right, we have almost finished with the steel furnace research. So, as well as that, we'll need stone bricks soon for smelters as well as walls. There you go, it's all going full ball and it's not far off. So because we're going to have this base here and a big smelting array elsewhere and another outpost somewhere building something, there's going to be the potential for getting attacked from every angle. So we need to start preparing some defences while we build everything else up. So we're almost past the manual feeding of equipment, thankfully. Just a couple more episodes. So that's right. I build another bunch of boilers and steam engines ready to power a smelting outpost, just simply because right now I haven't got long power poles and all that sort of thing, and it would be really inefficient and annoying to be using the small power poles to get from this base to wherever it is that we start building the smelting outpost. So if that's going to have its own power source as well as this one having a power source, we're going to need to defend it. So might as well start chewing through the supply of stone that we got. It's not like we're going to run out of stone very quickly, because on the minimap you can see that massive deposit off to the left. And now we have steel furnaces, so we'll grab some stone bricks, some steel, and start building 10 of them. I've already forgotten what I was saying before. Power, oh that's right. So because the any smelting outpost is going to need coal, at least for the short term, we might as well stick a power source there, because it's going to have coal or what is it? Rocket fuel? Not rocket fuel. The blocks. I've gone blank. But either way, here we go. We've got enough inserters, so we'll just set the production to finish, or to keep a supply on hand, and start having everything transferring up through the chests so that they are ready to be used. And yeah, going through especially green science much faster than can be kept up. Not like that wasn't foreseeable. Oh well, we'll get engines eventually. For some reason I dropped the number of labs back down to 8 instead of 10. Oop, and we got an attack on the copper smelting, and they actually managed to reach the turrets. Not entirely sure where that came from, considering there's a visible spot down there that I failed to view in time. They might have come from down there, the forest base. So that might be the next place to deal with in the near future. Ammo building up again. We've got some more furnaces, so we'll upgrade a whole bunch of iron, or the iron furnaces that then feed the steel furnaces. Copper's built up, so grab a whole bunch of that and fill up everything, but nothing's moving. Right, with those 2 labs finished, pick them up, and I'll just drop the science packs back into another lab. It's tempting to build a few on hand to speed things up, but then of course I'd stuff up my numbers. Not like that would really be a problem. Grab more inserters and belts, get that working again. Iron is building back up now because of those furnaces. So, I reckon that was thunder. Don't know if we might pick that up, but heard the rumble. So yeah, we're now swapping out some of the steel furnaces for stone furnaces, and then putting the steel furnaces on the stone brick smelters. Do that with the last couple as well, just to keep the speed up of that, because we might as well build up a supply beyond what we need. So this has certainly been an interesting experiment, seeing whether YouTube would work to help improve my speech. I think it has, but I just haven't been getting any feedback. But we're at the end of the episode, so thank you for watching, and I hope you join me for the next video. Later.